This guy here, in this video here, said I should restore the axe head I found. Funny thing about an old property is you never know what you're gonna find when you're working in the dirt. Last week I found a miniature toy police car. Today I found 2 rusted axe heads and a railroad stake. You tell me, would you have kept these plants? And subscribe for more. It almost cuts. That's pretty crazy for an old axe head. All right, we're gonna start by filling a bucket with white vinegar and letting it soak for 24 hours. We barely don't have enough. We're gonna have to get a little bit more. Here's about 12 hours in. Here's about 24 hours in. Still got quite a bit though, it's still sloughing off. It's been about 36 hours and here's our axe head, fresh out of the bucket. And I gotta say, it smells very strongly like vinegar out here. I found the scrub brush we used to clean off the grill, so don't tell my wife. But we're gonna sit here, we're gonna scrub it for a little bit, see what we can do. I want the axe to still look rustic and aged when I'm done with it. A sander or sandblaster would probably do better if you're trying to get every last bit off. Whew, this thing reeks. Oh, that's looking nice. A lot of texture to it. All right, we took it into the kitchen where you guys can see a little better. But look at that, we got a lot of our color there. It's got a nice silver tone to it. But as you can see, we still have the holding pieces in there. And so I'm gonna use a drill. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to do it, but I'm gonna use a drill and try to get it out there. Oh, nice. Well, I made it all the way through. There's the other piece. There we are. Alrighty, well, it looks like I'm going back to the store. I bought this handle for the maul, but if you see, it's not gonna be wide enough. All right, we're back and I have the right handle this time. Come to find out, this is actually a maul, not an axe head, and it has been smacked like no other. Look at that. This is not supposed to look like that. It also has a little inscription there that has been broken in. Starts with a WAR, so I'll go look up later and add here what it is for the company. But yeah, we're just gonna put on the axe head. Alrighty, I looked at one YouTube video on how to do this. So, you guys can tell me whether I did it wrong or right. If you look, there's a bigger end and a smaller end. So this handle needs to go through the smaller end of the eye here. And if you look, we've got an extra little bit here. So I'm gonna sand it down so it'll fit in there. But all I have is 220 grit. So this is gonna take a while. Not for you though. The sandpaper was taking too long, so I just used the bastard file I had out for sharpening the blade. It ain't pretty, but all that's gonna be behind the maul. Originally, I started with a rubber mallet because I didn't want to damage the handle. We barely made it in there. The regular hammer made an obvious difference. Progress so far, getting halfway there. Here we are, it's all the way through. All right. I believe this is supposed to be a little past the middle and then you shave it off. However, when you look at this side from me pounding it, it's getting kind of beat up and this is gonna be more of a show axe anyways. So I'm just gonna work with it that far in and see what we can do. Alrighty, the wedge is just a tiny bit too big now that we've cut it down. So I'm just gonna cut off a small section. Don't do this. This is me being an idiot because I don't have a handheld saw. Yeah, that's not gonna work. That's sketchy. You guys are definitely gonna roast me in the comments. As terrible as that all was, it definitely filled the gap. People cut the top out of this, but there's not much to cut. So I'm gonna file it down a little bit and then sand it and see what we can do. The last part to securing the axe head is to hammer in both wedges, both of which gave me some heartache. Once they bit into the wood a little bit, they were easy to get all the way in, but I had some heartache getting them started. Ow! 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 It's probably a terrible idea, as tension is what keeps the head on, but I drilled a tiny hole to help get the wedge started, and it worked wonders. Nice! Kind of like this on here. Here I'm just chiseling off some of the splintered pieces from hammering on the handle. All right, let's get this thing sharpened. Like I said, this is a maul, so it doesn't have to be as sharp as an axe would, but let's get a nice crisp edge to it. Here's what we're starting with. Once again, if you had the proper tool, a grinder, this would probably go a lot quicker. There's these little grooves, so even though it's getting pretty sharp, it's not perfectly flat. All right, if you can see, there's a nice shine to the axe now, right where the tip is. So we're gonna go give it a go. Added a little bit of linseed oil on here to keep it hydrated, I guess. Alrighty, here's the results. I could have cut off the imploded end and sandblasted the maul, but I chose to keep it because it gives the axe character and it fits the 1965 house. Because let's be frank, if you really needed a new axe or maul, you could probably buy one for about the same cost as it takes to restore one. Overall, I give myself a solid B. Alrighty, let's see how she works. So, when I swing, the handle is very long and the head is very heavy. So when it hits, it tends to want to deflect to the side, which is probably in part because it's a maul and it's not meant to cut wood, and because I don't cut a lot of wood. All right, that's all I got for you. But if you guys help me reach any of these metrics here, I'll cut down this decades-old tree with this decades-old maul. So like, subscribe, or comment for the algorithm. What is it? It's a big camera. How long do you think it took me? No, I don't know. I wish.